The notification sound on my phone hadn't stopped for 3 hours. 156 missed calls. 156. I stared at the number on my screen while standing in my new downtown Portland loft, watching the rain streak down the floor-to-ceiling windows that overlooked the city. 7 years. 7 years since my family told me I was dead to them. 7 years since my mother said I was selfish, manipulative, and would end up alone. 7 years since my sister Claire called me every name in the book because I refused to step aside and let her steal my boyfriend. And now, 156 missed calls in one afternoon. I knew exactly why. The article had dropped this morning. Portland Business Monthly's 30, Under 30. Creative Entrepreneurs, Reshaping the City. There I was, page 4, standing in front of my design agency's exposed brick office space. The caption reading Sarah Mitchell, 28, founder of Catalyst Creative, went from freelancing in a studio apartment to running a 7-figure agency in just 5 years. 7 figures. That was the part that would have caught their attention. Not the years of 80-hour weeks, not the nights I ate ramen so I could afford Adobe Creative Suite, not the panic attacks or the imposter syndrome or the countless rejected pitches, just the money. My phone buzzed again. This time, it wasn't a call. It was a text from a number I didn't recognize but somehow knew exactly who it was. Sarah, it's Mom. We're outside your building. We need to talk. It's important. Family emergency. I laughed. Actually laughed out loud in my empty loft. The last family emergency had been 7 years ago when I refused to break up with Jake so Claire could have him. That emergency resulted in me being uninvited to Thanksgiving, Christmas, and apparently, the rest of my life. For context, because I know you're wondering how it got that bad, Jake and I had been dating for 2 years. 2 years. Claire met him at my birthday dinner, decided she wanted him, and spent the next 3 months throwing herself at him while telling my parents I was keeping him from his true soulmate. When Jake shut her down, and I refused to end things, my family chose sides. Spoiler alert, they didn't choose mine. My father called me ungrateful. My mother said I was tearing the family apart. Claire cried to anyone who would listen about how her younger sister stole her chance at happiness. Never mind that she'd never spoken to Jake before that dinner. Never mind that he was horrified by her behavior. Never mind that I had done nothing wrong. They gave me an ultimatum. Break up with Jake and apologize to Claire, or lose the family. I chose Jake. And then 6 months later, Jake and I broke up anyway because the stress of everything had destroyed our relationship. So I ended up alone anyway, exactly like my mother predicted, except I was alone by my own choice. Alone and no longer drowning in their toxicity. I built my life from nothing after that. Crashed on friends' couches, took every freelance gig I could find, taught myself web design, branding, social media strategy, started small, landing local coffee shops and boutiques as clients, reinvested every penny, hired my first employee 3 years ago. Now I had a team of 12 and clients across the country, and I did it all without them. Another text, Sarah, please. Your father isn't well. We drove 4 hours. At least let us inside. It's cold. I looked out the window. It was 55 degrees and partly cloudy. Portland cold, which is to say, not cold at all. But something in me, maybe curiosity, maybe the part of me that still remembered being their daughter, made me buzz them up. Not because I wanted to reconcile, not because I missed them, but because I wanted to see this. I wanted to see what desperation looked like on people who had spent 7 years acting like I didn't exist. Also, and this is important, I had called my lawyer the moment I saw that first missed call. Rebecca had been my attorney for 2 years, handling contracts and the occasional intellectual property issue. But she was also the kind of lawyer who understood that sometimes you needed legal protection from family. Document everything, she told me. If they show up, record the interaction. Washington is a 2-party consent state, but Oregon only requires 1-party consent for recording. You're covered. Get it all on camera. If they threaten you, harass you, or trespass, we'll file for a restraining order so fast their heads will spin. So when I opened the door to my loft, my phone was already recording in my pocket, and my iPad was set up on the bookshelf with the camera facing the living room, disguised among my collection of design books. My mother was the first one through the door. She'd aged. More gray hair, deeper lines around her eyes. My father followed, looking thinner than I remembered. And then Claire, who had gained weight and wore an expression that I can only describe as calculated desperation. Mom didn't even look around the loft before pulling me into a hug I didn't return. "Oh, Sarah. Look at you. You look so thin. Are you eating?" 7 years of silence, and that was her opening line. "What do you want?" I kept my voice level, my arms at my sides. She pulled back, hurt flashing across her face. "Is that any way to greet your mother? We came all this way to see you." After 7 years of not wanting to see me at all, I stepped back, putting distance between us. "What do you want?" My father cleared his throat. "That's quite a place you have here. Must cost a fortune." There it was. Not "we're proud of you" or "we were wrong" or even "we missed you." Just immediately to the money. "I do well enough," I said carefully. Claire wandered past me into the living room, her eyes scanning everything like she was cataloging assets. "Wow, Sarah, this is really nice. I didn't know graphic design paid this much." "I don't do graphic design anymore. I run an agency." Right. We saw the article." She picked up a small sculpture from my coffee table, turning it over in her hands. "Is this real bronze?" "Put it down, Claire." She did, but not before I saw her expression. It was the same look she'd had when she decided she wanted Jake. Calculating, envious, entitled. My mother sat down on my couch without being invited. "We should talk. As a family. It's been too long, Sarah. Life is too short for these kinds of feuds." "Feuds." I repeated the word slowly. "Is that what we're calling it? I thought I was dead to you. I believe your exact words were, 'You are no daughter of mine.' People say things they don't mean when they're hurt." "You said those things 7 years ago. You've had 2,555 days to take them back. But I didn't hear from you once. Not on my birthday. Not on Christmas. Not when I posted about launching my business. Not when I announced my first major client. Nothing. Until today. Until the article mentioned how much money I make." The silence that followed was heavy. My father shifted uncomfortably. Claire examined her nails. Mom's face hardened. "We came here to reconcile," Mom said finally. "But I can see you're still holding on to bitterness." "I'm not bitter. I'm stating facts." "Your mother is trying," my father interjected. "The least you could do is be gracious." Gracious. I was supposed to be gracious to the people who disowned me for refusing to let my sister steal my boyfriend. "Why are you really here?" I asked again. Claire sighed dramatically. "Okay, fine. Since no one else wants to say it, I will. We need help, Sarah. Financial help. Dad's business is failing. They're about to lose the house. I've been trying to support them, but I can barely make my own rent. And you're clearly doing really well, so we thought. You thought you could show up after 7 years and ask me for money? We're family," Mom said, like that explained everything. Like that word hadn't been weaponized against me for years. Family, I let the word hang in the air. You know what's funny? When I was struggling, when I was sleeping on couches and eating once a day so I could save money for my business, I could have used family. When I was having panic attacks because I couldn't make rent, I could have used family. When I landed my first major client and had no one to celebrate with, I could have used family. But I didn't have family. I had you, and you made it very clear that those were different things. "We made a mistake," my father said quietly. "We see that now." "You see that now," I repeated. "You see that now that I have something you want. That's not remorse. That's opportunity." Claire stood up abruptly. "You know what? This is exactly why we had problems. You're selfish, Sarah. You always have been. You have all this and you can't even help your own parents? What kind of daughter are you?" I almost laughed. Almost. Because the audacity was breathtaking. "The kind of daughter you told to never contact you again. I'm that kind of daughter." "How much do you need?" I asked suddenly. All three of them perked up like dogs hearing a treat bag open. "Really?" Mom's face lit up. "Oh, Sarah, I knew you'd understand. We probably need about 80,000 to get caught up on the mortgage and—" "I'm not giving you money," I interrupted. "I was asking how much you needed so I could understand the scope of your delusion. $80,000. You want me to give you $80,000. It's not giving, my father said quickly. We'd pay you back. With interest. Once the business turns around. Your business has been turning around for 20 years, Dad. That's not a rough patch. That's a failed business model. And even if I believed you'd pay me back, which I don't, I still wouldn't give you a dime. Do you know why? They stared at me. Because you don't get to treat someone like garbage for 7 years and then hold out your hand when it's convenient. Because actions have consequences. Because I learned from the best how to cut people out of your life when they no longer serve you. You taught me that. My mother's face went red. After everything we did for you, we raised you, fed you, put a roof over your head, and this is how you repay us? You did the bare minimum required by law to not be charged with neglect. You want a medal for that? You want me to be grateful that you performed the basic functions of parenthood until it became inconvenient? You're being cruel, Claire said. No, I'm being honest. There's a difference. They left 20 minutes later. 20 minutes of circular arguments, guilt trips, and increasingly desperate attempts to get me to change my mind. My mother cried. My father tried the stern approach. Claire oscillated between manipulation and outright hostility. But I didn't budge. And the whole time, my phone in my pocket and my iPad on the shelf captured everything. After they left, I stood at my window and watched them get into their beat-up Honda in the parking garage below. I saw my mother gesticulating wildly. My father slumped in the passenger seat, Claire on her phone, probably already texting her friends about what a terrible person I was. And I felt nothing. No guilt, no sadness, no anger, just a calm certainty that I had done the right thing. But I knew it wasn't over. People like my family don't take no for an answer. They regroup. They try new tactics. I was right. By the next morning, my social media was flooded with comments from extended family members I hadn't heard from in years. Suddenly, everyone had opinions about my responsibility to my family. My cousin posted a long rant about how money changes people and how blood is thicker than water, conveniently forgetting that the full quote is, "The blood of the covenant is thicker than the water of the womb," meaning chosen family is stronger than birth family. My aunt called me selfish. My uncle called me cold. Someone started a WhatsApp group called Pray for the Mitchells and added half the family to discuss my betrayal. Claire posted on Facebook, "It's sad when success makes you forget where you came from. Some people get a little money and think they're better than everyone else. Money can't buy class or compassion." The post had 47 likes within an hour. That's when I called Rebecca again. "Send me everything," she said. "Screenshots, recordings, all of it. And let me send you something." What she sent me was a draft Facebook post. She'd spent the evening editing together clips from the recording of my family's visit, with captions explaining the context. Nothing taken out of order, nothing manipulated, just the truth, in their own words. "You don't have to post this," Rebecca said, "but you have every legal right to. They came to your private residence and have now publicly slandered you. This is self-defense. But it's also nuclear. Once you do this, there's no going back." I thought about it for approximately 30 seconds. Then I hit post. I titled it, "The Truth About Family Reconciliation. What 7 years of silence really costs." I included the recordings. All of them. My mother demanding money. My father trying to manipulate me with the "after everything we did for you" guilt trip. Claire's escalating hostility when I refused. I added screenshots of the texts leading up to their visit, all 156 missed calls, all the emergencies that weren't emergencies. And I wrote, "7 years ago, my family cut me out of their lives because I refused to break up with my boyfriend so my sister could date him instead. I was told I was selfish, manipulative, and dead to them. I received no contact for 2,555 days, no birthdays acknowledged, no holidays, no congratulations when I started my business, no calls just to check in, nothing. Until I was featured in a magazine that mentioned my financial success. Within 3 hours of that article being published, I received 156 missed calls and texts claiming family emergencies. When my family showed up at my home, they didn't apologize for 7 years of silence. They didn't acknowledge the pain they caused. They asked for $80,000. When I refused, I was told I was cruel and ungrateful. Within 24 hours of that refusal, I was publicly slandered across social media by people who haven't spoken to me in years. This is the cost of success when your family views you as an ATM rather than a person. I'm posting this not out of anger, but because I refuse to be gaslit into believing I owe anyone access to the life I built alone. Family is supposed to be about love and support. What I have are relatives who are interested in me only when I can be used. There's a difference. The post went viral. Not internet-breaking viral, but viral in my world, shared thousands of times. Comments flooded in, almost all of them supportive. Other people sharing similar stories, people who had been cut off by family and then approached when they became successful. People who had been guilted and manipulated. People who thought they were alone in this experience. My family's response was predictable. My mother called me vindictive. My father said I was airing dirty laundry. Claire tried to claim I had edited the recordings to make them look bad until people pointed out that even if that were true, the words still came out of their mouths. The extended family that had been so quick to condemn me suddenly went quiet. Some of them even reached out privately to apologize, admitting they'd only heard my parents' side of the story. But the real turning point came 3 days later when my mother posted her own video response. It was clearly coached by someone, probably Claire, who fancied herself media savvy. My mother sat in their living room, tears streaming down her face, talking about how I had betrayed the family's trust and humiliated them publicly. She claimed they had only wanted to reconnect, that money had never been the issue, and that I was lying about everything. The video got traction, not as much as my post, but enough. Suddenly, there were two competing narratives. Some people believed her tears. Some people thought I was the villain after all. That's when Rebecca earned every penny I'd ever paid her. She released a statement on my behalf. Miss Mitchell has been advised not to comment further on this family matter. However, in response to false claims made in recent social media posts, we want to clarify the following facts. All recordings shared by Miss Mitchell were made legally in Oregon, a one-party consent state. The recordings are unedited and have been verified by forensic audio analysis. We have additional evidence, including phone records showing 156 unanswered calls in a 3-hour period following the publication of Miss Mitchell's success, and text messages explicitly requesting financial assistance. Miss Mitchell attempted to resolve this matter privately. The recordings were made public only after she was slandered across multiple social media platforms by family members. We ask that Miss Mitchell's privacy be respected during this difficult time. Any further false statements made about Miss Mitchell will be addressed through appropriate legal channels. The phrase, appropriate legal channels, did exactly what Rebecca knew it would. It shut everything down. My mother deleted her video. Claire's Facebook posts disappeared. The family group chat went silent, but the damage to their reputation was done. My father's business, which was already failing, lost several remaining clients who didn't want to be associated with the controversy. My mother was asked to step down from her church volunteer position after other volunteers expressed discomfort. Claire lost a part-time social media management gig when her client saw that she couldn't even manage her own online reputation. I felt nothing about any of it. No satisfaction. No guilt. Just relief that it was over. Rebecca sent one more thing on my behalf, a formal cease and desist letter and a request for a no-contact agreement. If my family attempted to contact me again, harass me online, or show up at my home or business, we would pursue a restraining order and potential legal action for harassment and defamation. They signed it within 48 hours. That was 4 months ago. My life has been blissfully quiet since then. My business is thriving. We just landed a contract with a major tech company that will double our revenue next year. I'm mentoring young designers through a program for first-generation entrepreneurs. I bought a cabin in the woods outside Portland where I go on weekends to decompress. And I started dating again. Nothing serious yet, but I'm open to it in a way I haven't been since Jake. Therapy helped with that. Turns out, having your family use love as a weapon can really mess up your attachment style. Who knew? I still think about them sometimes. Not often, but sometimes. I wonder if they ever actually reflect on what happened, or if I'm just the ungrateful daughter in their version of this story. I wonder if Claire ever thinks about how her jealousy 7 years ago set all of this in motion. I wonder if my parents lie awake at night regretting their choices, or if they've convinced themselves they're the victims here. But mostly, I don't think about them at all. Because here's what I learned. You don't owe anyone access to your peace. Not your parents, not your siblings, not anyone. The idea that family is forever, that blood is everything, that you have to forgive and forget because they're family, it's all manipulation dressed up as tradition. Real family shows up when you need them, not when they need something from you. Real family apologizes when they hurt you. Real family doesn't weaponize love and connection. And real family sure as hell doesn't wait 7 years and 156 missed calls to tell you they care. Last week, I got a message request on Instagram from an account I didn't recognize. I almost didn't open it, assuming it was spam or another person wanting to comment on my family situation. But something made me click. It was from Jake. Remember him? The boyfriend from 7 years ago? The one whose existence started this whole mess? His message was simple. Saw your post. Wanted you to know I'm sorry for how everything went down. You deserved better from them and from me. Hope you're doing well. You clearly are. I didn't respond. Not because I was angry or bitter, but because that chapter is closed. Jake was a catalyst for my family showing their true colors, but he wasn't the problem. And he wasn't the solution either. The only person who saved me was me. The only person who built this life was me. The only person who set boundaries and enforced them was me. And that's the point of this whole story. You can't control how people treat you. You can't make someone love you the right way. You can't force people to respect your boundaries or acknowledge your worth, but you can choose who gets access to your life. You can choose to walk away from toxicity, even when that toxicity shares your DNA. You can choose to build something beautiful out of the wreckage of broken relationships. 7 years ago, I lost my family, but I gained something infinitely more valuable. Myself. My self-respect. My boundaries. My peace. My success on my own terms. Was it worth it? Every single day, I wake up in my loft, look out at the city I conquered despite them, and think, absolutely. The 156 missed calls sit in my phone log still. I never deleted them. They're a reminder of exactly who these people are when they want something from you. They're a reminder that sometimes the trash takes itself out, you just have to let it go. My mother wanted me to be gracious. But grace isn't the same as being a doormat. Forgiveness isn't the same as letting people hurt you repeatedly. And loving your family doesn't mean accepting abuse. So no, I don't regret my choice, not for a single second. And if they're reading this somehow, which they probably are because I know Claire can't help herself, I hope you find peace. I hope you heal. I hope you learn from this, but you'll do it without me. I'm done being your backup plan. I'm done being the daughter who wasn't good enough until she was useful. I'm done carrying the weight of your expectations while receiving none of your love. I'm just done. And honestly, I've never felt freer.